Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my new show. I don't own the rights to that music, but the next band I'm going to cover is the owners of that music, REO Speedwagon. Alright, welcome to my new show. I'm your host, the Rock Dr. Robert. Hashtag We Still Got More Rockin' to Do, Bitch is the show title. Don't have much of a theme song besides just a little "We still got more rockin' to do, bitch." And that's about it. So, just like any opening act, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the opening band for this particular night. This was at the Pearl Theater at the Palms, January 21st this year. I know it's been a few months since this concert happened. This is just a show I picked to review first, pretty much because there's a couple unique things that kind of happened in the show, and I think it's kind of cool to talk about. But like I said, on to the opening band. This band is called Sir Please. Lead guy in it is Shane Cronin. Some of you may be like, Cronin. Well, Kevin Cronin is REO Speedwagon's lead guy. Shane Cronin, his kid. They have a band called Sir Please. Pretty much it's like a basic rock band, but one cool thing about it is they have a saxophone guy the whole time. So it's like rock tunes with the sax mixed in. It's pretty cool. They start off with a couple of their own original tunes. One's called Different. One's called Holding You Like You're Mine. And then the third song, you know, being an opening band, of course you're going to do some cover songs sometimes. So they bust out the Scorpions' Rock You Like a Hurricane. So I thought that was pretty cool. The crowd was already getting into them a little bit anyway. And then, of course, after they started playing, you know, You Rock You Like a Hurricane, of course, you're starting to see a lot of heads start to bang. Then, of course, they play, you know, a couple of originals, Dance With Me, If I Run. You know, nobody really knows about those songs unless you really are into this band already. But, you know, all right, good rock tunes. But then they go ahead and bust out kind of a Beatles tune that you don't hear in the radio a whole lot called I Want You, She's So Heavy. And like I said, they also blended a saxophone with this song. Covered it just like the Beatles did, even with the long jam at the end. Which, if you know the Beatles, they don't do a whole lot of long jams. They jam for a good 3 minutes without any vocals at all towards the end of this song. It's one of the great songs off the great album Abbey Road. If you don't know about it, shame on you. And then, just to finish up their set, I mean, they've already done a great set. I was already like, man, they just played that Beatles tune, because it's not one you hear on the radio a whole lot. So just for them busting it out the way that was cool. But then they go ahead and bust out Kansas, Carry On My Wayward Son. That's how they finished up their set, which, you know, 95 to 99%, 95 to 100% of the people in that place knew, Kansas, Carry On My Wayward Son. So what a great song to finish up with, because a lot of people know it, and when it's done right, it's pretty cool. And like I said, mixing a saxophone the right way made it even better. Alright, my review shows are probably not going to be really long. It's not what it's about. It's definitely not going to be like a political show, and I'm definitely not going to the shows to critique the artists, unless we get one that like falls down drunk on the stage. Then I'll probably have something a little negative to say. But for the most part, it's going to be pretty upbeat. I'm going to get to this stuff pretty quick, not take a whole lot of time. Like and subscribe if you want to. Alright, but now to the headlining band, the classic rockers, REO Speedwagon. A couple of interesting facts about REO Speedwagon. You don't know, they originate from Champaign, Illinois, which is only about 80 miles from the little town that I grew up in Illinois, which is kind of cool. That's one of the other reasons why I kind of picked REO Speedwagon too. They're kind of a little close to home. Neil Darty was the last original guy to be in the band. He retired early January of this year, so I didn't get to see any of the originals. And I know some of you are like, what about Kevin Cronin? Kevin Cronin is not an original member for REO Speedwagon like a lot of people think he is. He is definitely the front guy for REO and has been since 76. Oh, sorry, Frank fell. You gotta stand, Frank. Sorry. Frank does that from time to time. Anyway, so Kevin Cronin is the lead guy, but he didn't come into the band until the second album, and then actually left the band for 3 albums, and then returned in '76. And that's when they started pumping out hits like, Keep Pushing. They even had stuff like Flying Turkey Trot come out in that first album. They even kind of restarted REO Speedwagon kind of a little bit by calling that first album Kevin Cronin came back on just REO. So, Neil Doherty, like I said, he was a keyboardist, one of the original guys in the band. So I didn't get to see him, but of course Kevin Cronin, what can I say? He can still do it and still plays good guitar, bust out a little piano, of course, on, I Can't Fight This Feeling. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the set list, because there's definitely a little treat that they busted out that I kind of wasn't expecting. Of course they come out with songs like Right Away on the Set, Don't Let 'Em Go, Music Man, Take It On the Run, which everybody knows that. If you don't know Take It On the Run, then once again, shame on you. It's a great song anyway. Then they played Keep Pushing. And then he kind of paused a little bit, Kevin Cronin, and kind of stopped the festivities real quick to talk about a man that died not too long before this show, Mr. David Crosby, who died on the 18th of January this year. So 3 days before we seen REO Speedwagon. And David Crosby is known, of course, for being in a band like Crosby, Stills and Nash, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, but also the Byrds, which was even before Crosby, Stills and Nash. So I mean, that's how long they go back. Plus, Crosby, Stills and Nash was one of the bands that played at the original 1969 Woodstock. They kind of opened the third day of Woodstock about 3 in the morning and played an awesome epic set, and kind of introduced themselves to the world at Woodstock, which was kind of cool too. Just one more really cool thing about Woodstock. So after Kevin Cronin kind of back to the set here, Kevin Cronin kind of started talking again a little bit and said we're going to do a little tribute. And he wants to play David Crosby's favorite song, which was Almost Cut My Hair. So they played Almost Cut My Hair, which is, if anybody knows the song by Crosby, Stills and Nash, YouTube it, check it out. It's a really, really cool tune. And like I said, Kevin Cronin definitely did it justice. If there is wherever David Crosby is at, whether it's up there or wherever he may be, I'm sure he was happy. And, I'm sure his soul was probably like, yeah, they did a good job right there. Pretty much did a really good version of the song, Almost Cut My Hair. So, another thing about David Crosby, I guess some of his final words before he passed away were, if we quit trying, it all goes into shitter. So I guess that kind of goes along with the song REO Speedwagon's Keep Pushing. So, you just keep trying, keep pushing. That's a little message, a little positive message. But back to the set list, they played a newer REO Speedwagon, and not many people probably know a whole lot unless you're a hardcore member of the band, or a fan of the band. Live Every Moment. Then they get back on right away and play a great hit by REO called That Ain't Love. REO Speedwagon fans know and love that song. Then they play Tough Guys, which is kind of one of them REO tunes that some people might not know a whole lot about. But then, of course, they're going to play stuff like Can't Fight This Feeling. Then they busted out Son of a Poor Man. One of the newer songs they played was called Building Bridge, which was pretty good for being a newer song. You never know about how some of these old rockers are going to play whenever they try to record newer stuff. And it sounded like an old school REO tune. Of course, then they did the old school Back on the Road again, riding the storm out to finish up the set. And then, of course, they head off the stage. And, of course, I know a couple of your things. Well, there's a couple tunes I know. You may not even be able to think of the titles right now, but once I say the titles, you're going to be like, yeah, they hadn't played those tunes yet, which they're REO staples. They're going to play them, so they come back out onto the stage for the encore and do Keep On Loving You, which, of course, everybody at that point is standing if they weren't already, and they're loving it. And then they finish up with the whole show with Roll With The Changes, which, that's an REO staple. Really great song. One good thing about like the crowd was really good. And whenever I say the crowd was good, I'm not just talking about the amount of people there. Because the Pearl Theater is not super big. I'd say it holds maybe between 5,000 to 6,000 people. I'm probably not even, I might not be right on that. I'd have to look it up. I honestly should have done that before I said it. But I don't know. But it's not a huge theater. It's not huge. And it was pretty full. But one thing I like, does the crowd get up and are they jamming with it? Are they getting into it? Do you have people behind me saying, down in front, down in front? And I turn and yell at them, say, it's a rock show. I'm going to be up in front. Should have bought better tickets than me. Sorry. And I love it when the ushers also say that same thing. When they're like, no, they should have bought a better seat than you if they want, if they want to complain. It's like, right, it's a rock show. This ain't the ballet. It's not the opera. The artists want you to stand up. So I stand up. I don't care if I'm the only person in that section standing up. I'm there to have a good time. I'm there to jam. I know it kind of maybe seemed like I rushed through this review, but this is my very first one. So when I'm not doing like a whole lot of editing and stuff, it's going to be completely raw. I pretty much threw on my Mike Tyson Keith shirt. I sat down. I just started recording it, kind of going off of my notes that I had here. Pretty sure I covered everything. And, it was great to kind of sit and kind of just talk to you real quick. Talk to whoever wants to listen. Like I said, like and subscribe if you can. Who knows what happens. Like they say, keep pushing. Keep pushing and definitely keep rocking.